to the Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes podcast. I'm Bert Lepore. He's Damian Monte Carlo. We're hanging here with Angry Mike G, and we're ranking the mighty Van Halen studio records.
All right, here we go. Episode 4, Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes. And we got something a little different today. We're doing a video, so hopefully that comes out good and we can post it.
You can see our big fat heads.
Right. People might not want it, so.
No, I don't know if you can.
But we're doing
it out. Mike looks like ghosting.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go.
A fucking mess.
He's a ghost for Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm really out of the COVID. This is just my spirit here.
So we got the Van Halen, and we rate the Van Halen records from worst to best.
And there's definitely a worst to best.
Yeah,
definitely a worst. Definitely a worst.
All right, let's start it off. Number 12, Van Halen 3. Dave, would you like to kick it off?
Yeah, I think that was to be expected. You know, I mean, I don't see anywhere where that album is rated higher than last. But that was the one with Gary Cherone. I kind of like, you know, not that I like the record, but I did like the idea when they originally announced them in the band. I said, okay, I could see that. And I remember I saw them live on that tour. And I thought he did a great job. I mean, he did the Sammy stuff and the Dave stuff.
Oh, he's a great.
He was great. Yeah, I mean, they did songs. They did rough stuff that Sammy never wanted to do. But I think maybe they should have toured. I think before they put the album out, and then recorded the record. I don't know, man. It was just kind of like
to warm people up a little bit. I mean, the guy's got a great range.
Yeah,
fantastic range. He could do both. And, you know, I do like Gary. I think Gary was great in Extreme.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, what do you think of Van Halen 3?
I mean, Damien took my words pretty much. I mean, I hated the album. This is the first time I listened to it. I think I heard a couple tracks when it first came out.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I actually went track. It was like, I didn't see it going. And I just remember it was like every song looked like it was like 6 minutes long.
I know. Yeah, they were long songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is just too long to be too bad. Like,
yeah.
No, I mean, I liked Extreme a lot. They were one of my favorite bands growing up. And, you know, you hear Gary Cherone's going to join Van Halen. You're like, yeah, pretty cool. You know, because I wasn't a big Hagar fan.
Right.
And then when I finally hear Gary Cherone, man, you should have stuck with Extreme.
Well, I mean, for me, I don't know, the single Without You, I love. I think that was a great song.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
I mean, that was a really, really good song. I like the video. The video is kind of goofy, but they always kind of mix in some goofy stuff. But I thought the single was great. The rest of the album, it was okay for what it was, but it wasn't a Van Halen record, you know?
Right.
But I think Gary gets a bad rap because of that record. But he's actually, like I said, you've seen him live, great performer. I seen him open up for David Lee Roth and Cinderella one year. And I know you might have went to that one. That was great. I mean, he's so good. And maybe not.
He's so great.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Look, you figure they went to a second singer and did even bigger or just as big as the first singer. Then you go to the third singer. It's hard. It's hard to replace one singer, let alone two.
Two,
know?
Yeah. And I think the album debuted at number 4.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, I think it's great, but for Van Halen, you know, all the records with Sammy, I think debuted at number 1.
It was ridiculous. Yeah,
so, I mean, you know, it was sort of like a flop for them, but, you know, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it actually, you know, did okay, but, you know, I think it went gold, which I think all the Van Halen albums went platinum.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
But,
the fans are going to buy it.
Fans are going to buy it initially.
Yeah.
The first single was received okay, and then it was just.
I didn't even like that song.
I did like that song. I really think that was a good song. And
there was one. I forget what song it was. Maybe it was a single, Without You, but there was one. It kind of actually sounded like an Extreme song.
That song in the middle,
the one?
That little kind of like scatty rappy thing.
Yeah.
kind of sounds like
to me the whole album sounded rushed, and it didn't even sound like they spent a lot of time on Gary's vocals on it. It sounded like it just didn't. I don't know. Just didn't sound like. It didn't sound like Gary's.
Yeah.
It sounded like he was trying to do Hagar and David Lee Roth together, and I don't know. To me, it didn't work.
Yeah. So there you go. Sorry, Gary. We're moving on to number 11.
Love Extreme. Love Extreme.
Love Extreme. Moving on to number 11, Balance. Dane, what do you think about the old Balance?
I think it's got one of the, probably, in my opinion, one of the best Sammy Hagar songs is "Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do." Man, that's a great.
I love the riff, the guitar riff.
Yeah, it's a heavy tune. I mean, when the album title doesn't sound, sounds like a wimpy song, but it's like a pretty heavy tune. It's real catchy chorus. I mean, the other song, "Can't Stop Loving You," it's like, I don't know, it's kind of vanilla. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the record, wasn't really.
Yeah, I like Seventh Seal. The opening song I thought was pretty heavy.
Yeah,
and like you said, the other tune, that "Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do." That's the riff, that little guitar part in the beginning is so good.
Yeah, it's cool.
So good. Rest of the album's kind of forgetful, I think.
Yeah, came out at a bad time too. I mean, all those bands were taking a hit. I mean, even
Nirvana was probably at that point, I'm thinking, right?
95.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was like 95. So.
Yeah, but it was still like that alternative era,
Yeah, and they became, which I'm sure we're gonna go into. They kind of became, a soundtrack sounding band. It's just
yeah,
still good. Still had the Van Halen sound, but how many songs sound the same now? Like I said, it was very vanilla.
Yeah,
but then two songs definitely stood out for me. They were ballsy, a little heavier. You want to add anything to Balance, Mike?
Well, I'll put it this way: I didn't really like anything off of it. But with that said, I am not a Sammy Hagar fan. That guy's got a great voice. For me, just not for me. I'm not into the whole. I don't know. For some reason, his voice is grating to me. But he's got a great. I don't know how to.
It's just not your cup of tea.
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. I think Balance was okay. It just was nowhere near as good as the rest. For me, Volume 3 or Van Halen 3 edged out Balance very small for the last place.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think I had it in 11th place. You guys both had it at 12, Van Halen 3. So you kind of weighed out where. So yeah, for me, them albums, a little rough. Let's go to number 10 for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, I think it's probably the best sounding record. I think.
Yeah, produced by Andy Johns, Ted Templeman.
Yeah, and it's the first one where Ted Templeman came back.
Yes,
because he didn't do the previous two. Mm-hmm. And Andy Johns, I think they did they fire him or something? But he's like responsible for the drum sound.
Yeah, which is the drum sounds good in there.
Yeah, I mean he he's kind of famous for that. But the songs, I mean, right now, I mean that's a classic. I mean, Pound Cake, Judgment Day, Run Around.
The intro to Pound Cake is great.
And I wasn't a fan of Pound Cake. It's one of the heavier Van Halen songs.
Yeah. Run Around was on that, right? Run Around.
Yeah, Right Now, Top of the World, which
that was good.
I didn't even realize this until I was like reading all about Van Halen like the past few weeks. But the end riff on Jump, during the outro, that's the intro to Top of the World. That's the intro to Top. It's the same thing.
I didn't even notice it. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he took that ending riff on Jump and used it for Top of the World. It's not a coincidence. I mean, he does shit like that.
Yeah, that's.
I was going to say, I think some of the older stuff, I was like, wait, I hear this song and that sometimes, and this song. And
you could tell a little bit, yeah.
They did that a lot. Even on Balance, I was looking at it. There was a song that was recorded in 1983 that ended up on Balance. So they always recycled.
Yeah,
shit, and
all that. Even like a song like Pleasure Dome that was on that record.
Yeah.
Musically, like really kind of cool, different musically. So yeah, I like that they still tried different stuff. Of course, Eddie always tried different stuff. But for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, you had a lot of good songs on it. You really did.
Yeah, and they got rid of the the synth. I think this is the first album they got rid of all the synth stuff and they kind of replaced it like with a piano instead, but
Yeah.
I think it was like a return to like, the guitar oriented sound,
And who did the thing first? Probably Steve Stevens when he did the thing before Eddie, right? With the
you mean
thing.
Paul Gilbert with the drill?
Was it Paul Gilbert for Racer
Yeah,
X?
it was two different things. And I read something with Eddie talked about it. Eddie actually got the drill. He put it near the pickup.
Right.
Mr. Big, what they did is they had a drill bit with picks attached to it. So it was kind of like same idea, except Eddie didn't actually play it. He just kind of used the sound near the pickup to kind of get that effect.
First album was great.
What, Mr. Big?
Oh yeah, that was constantly my player.
They're a band that really is big in Japan.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah,
they really are big in Japan. Everybody in that band was good musically.
Oh, it was virtuoso band.
All-star band. I mean, yeah, definitely an all-star band. But for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, it was a good record. It was definitely a good record.
Yeah, I thought it was solid.
I mean, it's weird. There's so many other good records that ranks in at number 10. But it is a good record. It is a good record.
I will say it has two of the Sammy songs that really don't annoy me. Right Now and Top of the World. So I can actually still hear them in my head. It's like,
the lyrics to Right Now is great.
I'm not yelling, get it out.
And even the video was done really well.
Oh man, that video, like, you couldn't turn it off because you were reading the whole stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, the words were really, really cool. So for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, hits a 10.
Yeah,
Number
but
9.
it's a good 10,
It's a real good 10. It's a high 10. Number 9, 150, Dane.
Yeah, I had this rated.
You had it high.
My personal list, I had it high, maybe like 5 or 6 or something. But I mean, just looking at the track listing, I mean, it's a lot of good tunes. Like Good Enough is really good. Summer Nights, Dreams. I mean, Best of Both Worlds. It's funny that they toured on this record. They had to play the whole album because
it was all big hits, big songs.
Yeah, because Sammy didn't want to do any of the Dave stuff. I think they only did maybe 3 or 4 Dave tunes, and they did some Sammy solo stuff, and they did the whole record. I mean,
you got Live Without a Net.
Yeah.
That record, that was great. Listen, the hardest part, I know it sounds silly. The hardest part is looking at Sammy's hair the whole time. Hair was like the popcorn hair, and it was
like Carrot Top or something.
It was very clowny. It was very, very, very clowny. And that was the hardest part. I'm like,
well, let me ask you though. Would you take that popcorn hair now on you?
No, I'd bring back the mullet.
You be
I was a fan of the John Stamos mullet. I had a John.
I think we all did.
I love.
You had the best one.
Listen, if my friends would bring my balls right now, I'd try and have the mullet back. Trust me. I'm not lying. What's it at? Business in front, party in the back.
That's right. Yeah.
Every once in a while, you see somebody brave enough to rock him.
They're starting to rock him again a little bit. A little Hicksville.
Yeah, I've been seeing them.
We're going to be back, Dave. Hey, back.
Bring it back.
But at 5150, it was produced by Mick Jones, Don Landy, and Van Halen. It peaked number 1, and the songs that are great on it. They really are. The only problem I get is that everything sounds like it's from a soundtrack, and it's because Sammy writes great soundtrack songs.
It sounds like Iron Eagle or something. Or,
it sounds like we're at the end of the game. If the guy strikes out, you win the World Series, and you hear the songs.
Right? Yeah. Dreams.
Or the guy finally gets the girl, and you hear boo doo 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 doo.
Right.
But I mean, all in all, it was different because it was so much later than Dave's kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was still really, 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 really good.
There's the girls out.
Yeah, it was more chicks.
Definitely, because I remember I used to go over to my buddy's house. His sister, she was just such a huge Van Halen fan. But it's like that was her album that she was part of, and she's singing "Our Love Comes Walking," and I'm like, "This is just a chick album."
Right.
And not that's the reason I couldn't listen to it. To me, it was just like you said, it was part soundtrack, part chick album, part Sammy Hagar.
Listen, the greatest quote I heard from David Lee Roth, and he's got a lot of good ones. was on Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience show. And Joe Rogan, no matter who he interviews, he's great. So he asked, he asked Dave something like, what's the difference between him and Sammy? And Dave said, well, he's like, Sammy talks about love, and I ain't talking about love. So that was the difference. And I was like, fucking Dave.
I know he was working on some of these songs that ended up on this record. I would love to hear
Dave's versions of it.
Yeah, like I from what I read, it's like Summer Nights was like a Dave era song,
right?
Because that was like a weird time. Like they did the 1984 tour throughout the whole year. Then like Dave took a break. He did that EP. He was still in the band at the time when he was doing California Girls and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the plan was like they were gonna do this record in '85, and I think they started doing it in like the first few months of the year, and that's like when shit went sour. Then he
Dave was doing that whole. Dave was high on doing this little solo thing. The guys really were kind of pissed about it, I guess.
Yeah.
But Dave, Dave, hey, listen to my song. Listen to what I'm doing here, and it didn't really go well with those guys. And I guess Dave and Eddie would clash a lot. But then he got the producer. He got Ted Templeman, which is funny because he didn't even like Dave in the beginning. Right.
He wanted to get Sammy on the first record because Dave didn't sing, but what he liked so much about him was that he liked his lyrics were like really, really clever.
Oh yeah, and he sings very off the cuff and
he has like the whole kind of scatting thing going on.
Yeah, it's almost like the way. Yeah,
we're not even up to his.
No, but it's like Brian Johnson compared to
Bon Scott. Yeah,
Brian Johnson's he hits you with some good shit. Bon Scott, even if you tried to cover his song, he's got this weird cadence how he sings. It's not easy to follow. It's really not. And Dave's the same way. He's not easy to follow at all.
But the record was huge. It was a huge record. It was bigger than Dave's record. So
I think me and Mike were talking about this the other day, and we were saying, and we agreed on it, was that the difference between Van Halen, with Dave and Van Halen with Sammy was Van Halen with Dave, you were like a single guy. Van Halen with Sammy was like you were domestic and got married.
Yeah,
that was
exactly. Right. Yeah.
Still great. Actually, they probably have a bigger fan base when they got Sammy.
Exactly.
They became. That's what you want. You don't want to. You want to get bigger. And they.
Yeah, I mean, look at all these songs.
Party in the back catalog, business in the front.
That's right. Dave was the party.
Yeah.
But
those songs were real commercial.
They were real good. And then moving on to number 8, one of my favorites, OU812.
Did you?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I always eat one. What do you think, Dave, on the OU812?
I like this one. I like Finish What You Started is probably my favorite.
I agree.
My favorite tune on the record. I mean, it's a cool tune, man. I mean,
it was kind of different from their other stuff.
Yeah.
That acoustic feel to it, and
right, yeah.
That's my favorite Sammy record. Definitely my favorite.
This one, yeah.
I mean, Finish What You Started, Black and Blues on that, right?
Yeah.
That was the one that came out kind of when I was getting just into the rock music listening, right. And so I probably have a little more of a special spot for that album.
Yeah, I like that album. Matter of fact, I think I don't know if the album came out yet or the album was coming out when they had the Monsters of Rock tour here at JFK Stadium when it was still around. Mm-hmm. Was you young for that, Dan, or did you go to that?
Nah, I was
maybe a little younger.
Yeah. I wish I would have went to that.
Dude, I went to that show. Me, my buddy Dave, my buddy Richie. My buddy Richie slept out for it. It was great. He was so excited to see Metallica. We went to that show.
Slept out for concerts?
Yeah, they slept out for everybody slept out
back
then. But we got there early. Like I said, Richie was holding our spot nice and early. And we got to meet my buddy Richie, Dave, and all those guys that I hang out with. And it was me, Dave, Frank Steinmiller, and I think Rich. And we were in the pit when Metallica came on. It was, we all knew of Metallica. It was the first time we seen them live. It was right before Injustice for All came out.
Yeah.
We were in the pit, and we were up in the front. Dude, we all were looking at each other like, what's going on? It was just the sway of – it was the most bizarrest thing ever.
Wow.
Sway of bodies. And Dave was like, hold on, I got you. Hold on, Dave would always try to protect everybody. But Yeah, dude. I mean, what a great concert. That was the same concert that I believe Kingdom Come opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And they were getting shit thrown at them. It's a shame. I mean, they were thrown. I mean, look, you can't open up before Metallica. Metallica was the beast. You know what I mean?
Metallica was second, yeah.
But Metallica came on second, man, and everybody lost their shit.
Kingdom Come was panning up for being a Led Zeppelin clone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're Greta Van Fleet of the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. But then you had Metallica come on, and after Metallica, you had Dokken, which was still kind of big. But that's when George Lynch wasn't talking to Don Dokken. So George Lynch
that was the end right there.
He wasn't even facing the crowd. He had his back to Don Dokken. But and then after that was the Scorpions, which they were great live. It was the first time I seen them. And then you had Van Halen, which was unbelievable.
Don't get me started on the Scorpions.
He's not a Scorpions fan, believe it or
not. I'm not either.
I like them.
I'm not.
You know,
I don't have an opinion on them, to be honest.
You know what's funny?
I don't, you know.
Billy talks to me once in a while, but Steve talks about to me once in a while, and he's like, you know what happened? He said, you know what really happened with the Scorpions, where they lost all credit, is when Claus Main at the Moscow Peace Festival was hogging that mic. he was hogging that mic. I was like, you know what?
The end, right?
Yeah, he was hogging that mic. So Steve gets absolutely right. He was right on that. The Moscow Peace Festival.
Festival that brought us Gorky Park.
Yes, it was. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
You know, fire, is that what they're saying? I don't know.
Sport, yo.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Gorky Park. How about that name?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man. But it was great. It was a great record, man. Anybody else got any comments on that? We want to? Or?
No, I think we can go on to I ate one before you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the next was my first Van Halen cassette I ever owned. It was my
You
first
know what?
Van Halen thing.
This might be my first cassette, too.
Diver Down, yeah, right?
Yeah.
It was my first one, and I played the shit out of that one.
Yeah.
I really did.
I thought it was weird. You know, it just seemed like they put it together. And then, like, when I was, you know, I've been reading about them, and then they pretty much did put it together because they put out
different song to song.
Sometimes. Well, they didn't want to. They weren't set up to record. I think
Pretty Woman
or whatever didn't do that good or something like that, right? Right.
They wanted to do a cover of Pretty Woman. They just wanted to put it out as a single, so they put it out as a single, and it did really well. And then the label said,
"Let's put something.
You guys got to do a record now." So they kind of like rushed everything, and they put out this. Most of, like, what is it, 5 or 6 cover tunes or something?
At least 5, yeah. We had Where All the Good Times Going was a great song.
Great song.
Hang 'em High is great.
Hang 'em High is great.
Little guitars.
Yeah, all the guitar stuff on it is great. All that little guitar stuff all over that record is unbelievable, man. And then you had Eddie and Alex's dad play clarinet on Big Bad Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was. But the one thing I do like about that record is that they always had, especially with Dave, they had a little of that comedic stuff into them.
Like that song, yeah.
Which was fun. Happy Trails.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't so serious sometimes. They were having fun, which I definitely kind of like. Pretty Woman was a great cover.
It was, yeah.
That was a real good cover.
Dancing in the Street was going.
Yeah, you know what? It's a good song, but it's hard for me to listen to because I keep thinking of Bowie and Jagger doing it, and it looks it's so bad in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably around the same time too, I think.
Yeah, guess what? It's got to be close. I don't know which one was first, but that's what it kind of reminds me of. But
curious.
Yeah, but Diver Down, I thought it was actually pretty good for what it was.
I'm not a cover fan, and to me, there was too many covers.
I mean, 5 was a lot, but it also had like
there was a couple good songs.
The Full Bug. I mean, there was a lot of. It was a fun record. It was a fun record to be in between, but
definitely the worst of the rock.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah.
But that's right. I guess that's where you got the idea to do California Girls at the time or something like that. Maybe he was gearing up on kind of doing, whatever the vaudeville stuff or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
But
I just looked it up. Dancing in the Streets, Van Halen was first.
Really?
Yeah,
it's crazy. I would have thought the other way around. Yeah, that's crazy.
well, David Bowie and Mick Jagger did it for like a Live Aid record or something. It was probably like a year or two after that.
So they did it for the Live Aid record. You said, yeah.
And all that time, I honestly thought that was the cover.
The Dancing in the Streets. Well, it was a cover, right? Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah,
it was a cover.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a cover. But it was a fun record, and all the Eddie stuff's brilliant on it, though. All that little guitar stuff is so good. I mean, so good. So he was able to put a little bit of the stamp on it, you know, even though he didn't want to do that record. He definitely didn't want to do that record.
Yeah, from what I read is that they didn't want to do an album. They just, they wanted to take some time off. Did they record this at 5150 or was it the next?
I think the next one they might have.
Yeah. Okay. So he was building the studio around this time.
Right. Yeah, I think it was the next one that he was doing that for.
Yeah.
But number 6, let's go to the big one, 1984.
Yeah. So this is the first one they recorded at 5150.
Yeah. What do you think of 84, Dane?
It's great record. I mean, a lot of people, how we have it ranked is usually how everyone else has it ranked. Like they'll have Diver Down as the worst Dave record, and then this one right below it. I guess, it was the first like big, huge commercial sound record, which kind of led up to 5150 and everything. But this is also, I mean, he just came off doing the, Beat It and everything, which kind of opened them up to a whole other, fan base and everything,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the keyboard's the beginning of Jump. I mean, yeah. So it's like the final countdown. As soon as you hear that intro, it's like you're like, But it was a great album. Every song was good on the record. You know,
Drop Dead Legs.
Drop Dead Legs. That one, right? I'll Wait.
I'll Wait. Man, that's good.
I'll Wait's a great song. Hot for Teacher.
I just remember the video for that. It was just during the school.
Well, Hot for Teacher?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
classic.
That's actually, I was going to ask that later on. My favorite Van Halen video is probably Hot for Teacher because I dug that they had the little kids that looked just like them. It was great. They really looked like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they did a great job.
That might be one of the first videos I remember seeing.
Yeah, with the Waldo.
Yeah.
Waldo.
Now it's the teachers are hot for students.
Fucking like. Welcome to 2020.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that record was so good. Even House of Pain was good.
House of Pain was an old song from the 70s.
Yeah, and they brought it back, right? They redid it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying that is a great record. I love the album cover. I think the album cover is really cool.
Yeah.
Color.
Brilliant.
It was a really cool album cover. And the videos were great. Same thing. You watch the video, Eddie's in there doing his little thing and Dave pokes his head in. It must have drove Eddie fucking nuts.
What's funny is
original
I was listening to an interview that Eddie did, and it was recorded for like Guitar Magazine or something back in like 1981 or something. And it was on YouTube. It was like an audio interview, and he was telling the guys like, "Yeah, I'm starting to get really into synthesizers, and I think I just wrote a song on synthesizer. Let me play it for you." And he plays them a demo of Jump.
Right.
It was like all. This is like 3 years before this, but I mean, look at all the bands that started bringing in keyboard players because of this album.
Absolutely.
Look at like the Yorps and Bon Jovis and
even Ozzy. Ozzy had the backstage keyboard player.
Yeah, everybody did. Everybody brought in the keyboard player. Aerosmith had the keyboard player, and
Well, even Kiss.
And
Gary Corbett, I think was Gary Corbett. I think it was Gary.
Yeah.
They brought him for Crazy Nights, like around there.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just put it behind the stage on the side. And they would just, most of the time, the keyboards would fill up some spots, or the keyboard guy usually sang pretty well, too.
Right.
I mean, you take a band like Bon Jovi, David Bryan, he's so much more important than that band than I think a lot of people realize.
Oh, yeah. It's like a secret weapon.
Oh, my God. He sings his ass off.
Well, but if it wasn't for Van Halen, those bands never would have even gotten a keyboard player. So you can kind of blame him for that.
Right, exactly.
Screw you, Van Halen.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1984, all the videos were great. The album was great. And I'm surprised it didn't rank higher. I ranked it a little higher on mine. I think it was like 3 on my list. But there's so many. It's tough when you have so many good records.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really tough. So let's move on to number 5, Women and Children First.
Yeah, I think I had this ranked maybe, I think 3rd, maybe. I think it's, I love this record. Yeah, I mean, Everybody Wants Some, you know, Cradle of Rock, Romeo Delight.
Everybody Wants Some. How wasn't that a single? I couldn't believe I looked up. It wasn't a single. I thought that was a single.
No, because it was in the movie Better Off Dead.
Was it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Where
Really?
John Cusack was working at, I believe it was called Pig Burger.
Yeah.
He's sitting there daydreaming about his shitty job, and he starts thinking up these hamburgers are coming to life and they're claymation.
And everybody wants.
And everybody wants some. Yeah. That's what I remember. Because I mean, to me, that was, you say Hot for Teacher, that was definitely one of the more memorable videos. But that wasn't a video, and that was about as memorable to me.
I don't
as a Van Halen video.
I don't remember that movie.
Because I watched that movie so many damn times.
That wasn't the one with where he's holding up the fucking radio, right? It's not the same movie.
No. That was
that you're thinking
I'm not
of.
really up on John Cusack movies. That was the one where he his girlfriend, he gets suicidal.
Do you remember that is?
And he tried to kill himself about 50 times in the movie, whatever. I'm probably exaggerating, but.
Oh, what's the name of that movie? Damn it.
But that was something. Somebody Google it.
We have to look up the John Cusack.
Yeah.
IMDb on John Cusack. But yeah, dude. I mean, Everybody Wants Some. What a great song, man. What a great song. Cradle of Rock, great song. And like I said, my whole thing with this, I like that they could be comedic, even with the.
Could This Be Magic?
Could This Be Magic? What was the one with the women? We talked about the women and children first. Is it the last song on the record?
That was the last song.
In a Simple Rhyme?
In a Simple Rhyme. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I like that song. I thought it was a diversion from what they normally. It was kind of cool. It had that.
Well, when they were making albums, a lot of bands back then in the 70s, or in the 70s to maybe the early 80s, they would try. It wasn't like you were a one-trick pony. They tried different shit.
Right.
You had something that sounded funky, then you had something that sounded a little disco-y, then you had something that sounded really heavy, then you had something poppy. It wasn't like you had to be this sound and you stuck with it. I think the 80s really brought that, where this is your sound and every song has to sound this way, and then it gets boring.
Well, that's where everything became business. The business world got
right.
involved.
Well, you're cookie cutting, and we're going to milk you to you could sew what you could sew, and then when you're not done, we're going to get you out, and we're going to
watch that Go-Go's documentary the other night, and that was pretty much how it was.
Did you see that? Go-Go documentary?
No, I didn't see that.
I don't know what channel it was on.
Is that on Showtime?
Yeah, Showtime. Yeah, he said Showtime.
Okay.
Well, my wife was watching it. We just call it I call it like the middle to the end of it, and it was pretty good. It talking about how, they started off being like a punk band, and then it's just like once they got big, that's when all the who wrote the song kind of deal, and of course the drummer got screwed. Usually the drummer does get screwed, usually unless you're a Charlie Benante or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like mostly they don't count when you write songs. They usually don't count the drums as being part of the songwriter, unless you have that deal in the beginning.
I mean, I didn't write this beat here, like
right. Well, and it's really not fair. It's usually whoever comes up with the music, the melody, and the lyrics kind of deal. That's who usually gets the song. Yeah. Like somebody like you do everything, so you're usually involved in everything. But somebody who just played, like maybe like a Steven Adler,
but he got credited on Appetite for Destruction, and Axl didn't like that at all. He was like pretty pissed off, but I
mean, fair is fair though. If we're all in a band together, and as long as you're pulling your weight,
right?
I can come up with an idea, you can come up with an idea, he can come up with an idea, and the drummer still comes up with an idea that changes the dynamic of the song. It still means something. Yeah, his little dynamic could change the whole. Like if you listen to and I don't know if we got any credit for it. Awesome session drummer, the guy that played with John Cougar Mellencamp.
Kenny Aronoff.
Great drummer. Fucking fantastic session drummer. He came up with that part on the audition, right? Jack and Diane?
The breakdown part, yeah.
That little breakdown, that little part fucking makes it.
Yeah, he should get credit for it. I don't know if he did, but
yeah, I don't know if he did either. But that part changed the dynamic of the song. It made it sound like two different songs. One, and Kenny Orndorff, right? Fucking
yeah.
Well, just like the Phil Collins song, the drum solo that In the Air Tonight.
In the Air Tonight, yeah.
And right, like I'm assuming Phil Collins wrote that.
I'm sure he got all the credit for that.
But I mean, somebody else wrote that. Shit, they deserve probably all the credit.
Right.
So that's the song.
I believe the drummer should get credit. I mean, mostly when you're starting out, all four guys, the right way is to do it equal. Because it's not just one guy doing everything. Usually, at least from that what I see.
Well, if you look at one of the Van Halen records, Alex Van Halen got credit for everything.
Yeah. Well, I think you should. You're part of it, Now, if you're not doing nothing, you're being a bum, and that's a different story.
Yeah.
If you're just showing up, like Vince Neil, I don't think Vince Neil wrote that much about it. For a singer, usually singers write a lot,
Vince would be started on Motley.
Yeah. I think, really the brain of that band is, I guess, Nicky, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
But Tommy brought a lot of that dynamic. Tommy's big playing is what make that band sound great to me, When you say Motley Crue, I think of Tommy and Nicky. They're the first two guys I think of,
Yeah.
And even though, the whole Mick's great too. Mick don't get enough credit. But, yeah, man, so.
We could do them another day.
We will do them. We will do them another day. So,
because I got a lot of angry issues.
Women and Children first hits at 5. We're gonna go to 4. A Different Kind of Truth. Damo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with this one this high.
Yeah,
that's probably my fault at first.
Yeah, I love this record.
Yeah. I like it. There's parts of it that I really do like. Bullet Head is killer.
Great.
She's a Woman. Chinatown. Yeah. Honey Baby Sweet Doll. It's a good one.
It's great.
Yeah. Stay Frosty. That's sort of like
Ice Cream Man
Part 2.
Yeah.
Which, I liked it.
Yeah, I like the record, but I think I had this maybe I don't know, 10 or something higher.
Maybe I'm going to say, because I think maybe I did put this too high, but here's the reason. I kind of wrote off Van Halen. This is a while ago. To the point I don't even want to listen to the Dave stuff. So here comes we're hanging out, me and Bert one night. I put the latest Van Halen out. I don't want to hear it. Come on, take a listen to it. I listened. Wow, this is really good. This is really good. And each song goes by, I'm like, here's a clunker or two. I can't really name them off the top of my head, but I'm like, you know what? This is pretty good. We went back, listened to some of the Dave stuff. I feel like that album brought me back into Van Halen.
Yeah.
It sounds like what they should have progressed into.
I love it. I mean, the first record with Wolfie's great, man. He is.
Yeah.
He's talented. He's super.
And for last album, at least they had Dave back.
Yeah,
right.
That's
a good bookend.
That's what I felt. I felt that I thought the album was so damn solid. I do, and it definitely became one of my favorite Van Halen records. And I do like the fact that they went full circle. That Dave came back, and I remember people saying when it came out, it don't sound like Van Halen. It sounds exactly like Van Halen to me.
Yeah, but because most of the songs were from the 70s. How could people say that?
But it didn't sound dated though either, really. I don't think it that dated. I think it had it sounded like their old stuff with a new kind of feel to it.
I mean,
that's what people wanted.
Right. Roth's voice has got character. He's got a certain tone, especially on record.
Not the greatest voice, but
the tone.
Whatever he does, it works. It's
all about the tone.
It's like a mad genius.
It's all about the tone, and it just works. Tattoo. I love the song Tattoo. The video, I love it. I mean, I like Dave and Paul Stanley are like two frontmen that it's either you love them or you hate them.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of because they got the same kind of thing somewhere where it's like if you take them in the sense that you get a kick out of them, you find them a little kind of funny sometimes, then you'll dig them,
Right.
And Paul goes off and does this whoa, what crazy, we'll look at each other and go,
I wish Kiss had more Gene Simmons songs in it.
Of course.
So, but and then when it's like, they this sounds really cool. This is gonna be a Gene song. It's Paul. Damn it.
I mean, I like Paul. Paul carried that band. He really.
Yeah, you can't take them too seriously. It's some of these guys are just it's a good time.
Absolutely, and Roth's the same thing. Roth would talk to the crowd. I could listen to him for hours. He's so out of his mind.
He was from there.
Definitely.
I mean, he's what everybody wanted to be in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
All glamour was pretty much David Lee Roth.
He was the ring.
Yeah.
I saw the Bullet Boys, and I could tell you, Mark Twain did a damn good job.
Oh, God, yeah.
He was hanging out last night with me. We actually watched a little bit of the Bullet Boys 2020 reunion thing that they did without a crowd. And we watched them, and we're like, guess what? They sound pretty
yeah. I saw that, yeah.
They sound pretty good.
I saw them open up for Cinderella. And also Winger was good.
It was Cinderella Winger. I didn't go to that one.
Who also has a bad name in rock, by the way.
That's another band where it's like all crazy talented studio musicians that quote a bad rap because the guy was good looking.
Yeah. Well, it didn't help that Beavis and Butthead had the dorky kid wearing the Winger.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was a little creepy them singing about a 17-year-old girl.
But they all sang about that. You know what I mean? Gene Simmons, this one, they all sang about that.
Hey, that first album.
And what were they like?
That was great playing.
That first album, I had that on my player for a while. I'll admit that.
First album's great. That guy's actually a good bass player. He was.
I think your third album is great. Paul, one came out in the 90s.
What was the third? Where you had the one with Down Incognito or something? That was the second record.
That one, yeah, that record is great, man.
That was the Heart of the Young was
and the Heart of the Young was second. Well, I'm thinking the third.
Yeah, the third album. Yeah,
but
that's the one I'm talking about.
Talented band. I mean, real talented band. But they definitely borrowed. everybody in the '80s borrowed stuff from Van Halen. But look at David Lee Roth. He definitely borrowed stuff from
Jim Dandy from Black Oak, Arkansas. I mean, yeah.
It's like saying that Hulk Hogan in the 90s ripped off superstar Billy Graham. He did. It's the same.
Yeah. A lot of guys did.
Sure. And that's what you do. You take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then you make your own thing. That's you go where it works. As long as you're not cookie cutting. It all goes back to the cookie cutting thing. Once you start cookie cutting, then it gets watered down, and then everything sounds the same. And that's what happened in the 80s. Everything started sounding the same. Like, oh, all right. Everybody's 6'1", hair down to their ass. They need a cheeseburger.
Well, that's because the videos. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I'm a gimmick guy. I like the videos. I admit it. You could sell me. When I first seen Marilyn Manson, dude, I didn't even hear him yet. I was like, yeah, I'm checking that shit out. They're out of their mind,
Right.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for the gimmick a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to know what the band. It's just like I just want to hear the music. Then you get that visual image, and you're like, that could turn you off too.
Like Poison's a little rough now. They got some good songs, but a little rough for me now. Yeah,
now, yeah.
It was the beginning of the end, I think.
The first record,
it was the beginning.
The first record was good. It was good. Actually,
it was the first.
But it's the same thing. It's like it's a party. It's a you can't take them.
Right.
They're not going to change. They're not going to tell you to feed the poor and
eat the rich.
Let's save the rainforest. I mean, it's a.
You just want to have a couple beers.
It is what it is.
Fill your ass with a feather. That's it.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to number 3. Probably Van Halen's darkest album, Fair Warning.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I like this one a lot. It's probably my favorite one, I think. Unchained is probably, it's like one of the best tunes. So This Is Love. I remember seeing the videos on Headbangers Ball for those two songs. Remember seeing that video?
I remember.
It was like it was supposed to be like from a live concert, man. I wish I had a bootleg of that.
I had the 83. I don't know what year this came out, but I had this came out in what? 81. Okay, this came out
81, yeah.
83, the U.S. Festival.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's classic.
Yeah.
But Fair Warning, man, very dark, very experimental.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite parts on the record aren't even the song. It's the Crazy Eddie stuff. The weird, dark keyboard sounds and...
Yeah.
Just a lot of wacky shit. And then the album cover is crazy,
Yeah, it is.
I read some of the, I guess the artist, it was like a dark kind of, it was very dark record. Different, I think different kind of Van Halen. Still sound like Van Halen.
Yeah.
But it was definitely experimental.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now you mentioned this on the album covers.
Right.
I'm going to go back a little bit on this.
Okay.
Because I believe it was Van Halen 3 with the cannonball being shot into the guy's gut.
I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it.
I will say now, I do get it. Because that's what that album makes you feel like. Being shot. All right, let's go back.
Dude, there you have it.
Yeah.
But any other fair warning, Dane? What do you think?
Nah, I mean, pretty much got it. I mean, they were like really getting into the synth stuff. You're starting to hear that more on this one. I mean, Eddie's got that cool intro on Mean Streets.
Yeah.
That, which is sort of, a lot of people say that's like, man, I don't know how he did that. I mean, that's like what Eruption was on the first album. That intro that starts out the record was like Eruption for this album. Yeah.
It's so neat. But it's even push comes to shove, and then
yeah. One Foot at the Door is cool.
Yeah, you like that. That was a weird. It's got some crazy
that
stuff.
Crazy funky sound. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's really, to me, the record don't scream Van Halen, even though it sounds like Van Halen. It's definitely more experimental. And the cool thing is that the keyboards don't sound like these lovey-dovey keyboard things. They sound more like environmental kind of.
Right. Yeah.
And,
right. Where like the later '80s stuff had that. Every keyboard had that same sound.
Right. Well, that was the Hitmaker. That was.
Yeah, you could see it was starting to get into that.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, I love the fact that, you listen back to the stuff and you forget how good they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, because you take it for granted. Van Halen's a band that's always on the radio. It's kind of like Zeppelin. Love Zeppelin. But I'll rarely put something on from Zeppelin because I hear it so much.
You hear it all the time, yeah.
Love it, but doesn't mean I want to put it on.
AC/DC.
Yeah. It's stuff that you like, but you don't really, I'm not going to go out of my way and probably put it on. I might put it on.
Right.
Say I have to listen to this now, But let's move on to number 2, Van Halen 2. What are you thinking, Dan?
Yeah, it's classic. And they pumped this one out pretty quick. 6 days they recorded it.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Not long. It was only like about a 25-minute album.
31 minutes.
31 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's weird. If you look back to a lot of their albums, it seemed like 9 songs.
Right. 9 songs. And they're all like around 31, 32 minutes. All these albums,
I don't know.
All the Dave stuff,
Maybe when they went to CDs, they went to a lot more songs, right?
Yeah, because it was more time.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good spot. I think I enjoyed the more like the Sabbath and the early Van Halen, where it's like when they gave you 8, 9 songs, no more than 10, and that was
right.
Good.
Maiden was kind of like that too. I think for a long stretch they had about 8 songs around.
Yeah, because their songs were long and
right. Yeah.
But sometimes giving too much, you're giving too much. Save it for the next one. I rather
make a B-side out.
I'd rather have 2 records in 2 years than have one long ass record that, State of Arcadium from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Even if it's great, I mean, I'm bored by by half of it. Not that it's not good. I'm just bored by it.
Right.
Too much.
Well, they would give you an album every year, and
every year.
It's like it was like just like clockwork. I'm looking every December. They were back in that was their cycle. They would release an album in March, tour throughout the year. December going to studio, and they would put it out in the spring.
Yeah.
Every year they're putting a record out.
And all the bands used to do that back in the cycle was you would put out an album 1 or 2 a year, and then in the 80s it got to be like every 2 years, and then it was like every 4 years, and then that was like every 8 years, or something.
Right.
Like you would have usually in the mid 80s it was like every 2 years they were bands were putting out albums. We're in the 70s. We were listening to some Mott the Hoople the other day, because the name, know a couple songs, but we're trying to dig up some
yeah.
It sounds like. And they were putting out 2 records a year. It was crazy. Crazy.
Guess what? I always thought they were like an old band's band.
Well, Mott the Hoople?
But I gotta say, I enjoyed some of it.
It was pretty good. It was good. That's one of those bands that's been around forever, and
you think it just sounds like a goofy name, Mott the Hoople.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Dane, we were kind of going back and forth on text the other day, just saying that, I'm trying to go back and dig up some stuff that I know the name, but I never really paid attention to. I might like now. And
Right.
you like a lot of that 70s stuff is so damn good.
Well, a lot of the bands, like the one or two songs, but there's so much more,
Right. And the much more are the ones that are more experimental. And
Yeah.
I always thought Mott the Hoople was a glam band, and they really weren't.
They kind of
After they did, maybe,
yeah,
but
yeah, they had their time, but
they sounded like a lot of bands, and a lot of bands sounded like that.
right. So it got mixed in there.
Later on. Yeah, but okay, I think we're.
It was always pretty. It was pretty good.
They were pretty cool.
But yeah, going back to Van Halen 2, I mean, really, 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 really good follow-up record.
You're No Good.
You're No Good.
That was now from what I read is that the music for that, Eddie had the music. It was supposed to be. I think the music was like a whole other song. It was an original song, but the producer, I think, wanted them to do this. You're No Good, and Dave just sang over that. So that's why it doesn't sound anything like the original.
And that's a cover, You're No Good, if I remember.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't like covers. I actually thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. All their covers are pretty well done. I mean, they kind of like make their own. I mean, why would you do a cover and sound identical? It's like
exactly.
But Dance the Night Away. It's a great tune. Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Yeah. Light Up the Sky.
Light Up the Sky is great.
This is the first Van Halen album I own, so I kind of.
This is you ranked.
I could have said this. No, I didn't rank it. I actually did rank it too.
You ranked it too.
I mean, I could have gone number one with it. We know where we're going anyway now.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise. The reason I did it was because number one was what you said, Everything on Fire.
Absolutely.
But it could have been number one.
Yeah, Van Halen 2 is good, just not as good as number one.
Right. Yeah.
Which moves us on to the big one, Dame. Van Halen 1.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. I mean, man, you listen to this album and then listen to everything else that came, all the other bands. Man, they were so different than everybody else. I mean, it was like, I don't know. It's like, like BC, you know what I mean? Like BC and AD. It's like, before, it's like BVH before Van Halen after,
every song is good. I mean, every song is good. And he changed the guitar people looked at guitar. He changed the playing of guitar at that record. Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Right. Yeah.
And he used to, if you remember the story that I heard that Alex would tell him, don't face the crowd. Don't let them see what you're doing,
Yeah.
Which, that's how it was back then.
Right.
You were protective. You were protective of what you did. Like there would be even, I was reading their old tour manager. Was it Noah Monk? Is that the old tour manager? Mm-hmm. He wrote that Running with the Devil book, and I finished that a couple months ago, and he talked about all kinds of crazy stuff, like the story with, I don't know how true it is with Steve Perry, where Eddie threw the thing of guacamole and landed on Steve Perry's new jacket or something. Steve Perry was upset and crying.
He denied it. I saw recently he denied it. He said he was
denied it, I think
of course.
True. I think it was true. He got hit with it.
That was the first Steve Perry.
That was the first. Here comes Steve Perry.
What up? Walks on like food.
Yeah. Get the guac out of here. But I mean, they were crazy. Dave was like afraid of flying, so Dave would be a bitch because he didn't want to fly, so he'd be cranky.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a hell of a dynamic. I mean, how about Gene? Gene pretty much discovered him, if you want to say. Brought in Casablanca. Casablanca was like, we don't like your lead singer. What a mistake that would have been.
I know, really.
I mean, I can't see Van Halen breaking that big without Roth in the beginning.
Right.
Even though the band was great, it's just part of the whole thing, the puzzle.
Yeah, well, the producer, Ted Templeman, really worked on them. I mean, he would record the band live during the day, and then at night, it was just him and the engineer working with Roth, because he didn't want Roth to do the vocals with the rest of the band, because they didn't want the band to see all the trouble they were having producing his vocals.
Right.
They don't want to make those guys say, oh man, he really fucking sucks. We got to get some, they wanted to kind of like hide that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, the end result was classic,
Well, it's like anything. When you sing live and when you do studio stuff, man, it is night and day. Like even for me,
you don't hear all that shit. Yeah.
If I sing live, the energy is so much different than me doing it at home, because at home you're trying to be perfect. You're trying, it's in your head. You're trying to hit the notes. Live, you just fucking go, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's missing sometimes. Even some stuff I recorded, I'm like, wow, live it sounds so much more something aggressive. Where, you know, the record, it sounds like it's a little more laid back, but it's just tone. It's tone. It's energy. And Rolf, you know, he got it out of Rolf, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he got it out of Rolf. I mean, that whole album is so good. And like you have Eruption, which changed the face of guitar, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, just so good. So
top to bottom, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, you agree, right? Van Halen won, right?
Absolutely. I heard that so many times. It used to be we used to go to the diner. It used to be in the jukebox there. It was probably like one of like maybe 3 or 4 rock albums that was in there. So we used to play that in there. Probably from top to bottom sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like you said, the records were great that they were done in a half an hour, 35 minutes. So it went by so friggin' fast.
Yeah.
You know, you hear it twice.
Right.
You know?
In an hour.
Yeah. In an hour, exactly.
Right. And you really weren't bored. It just kind of flew by again. It's like you'd want to listen to it again because it went by so fast.
Yeah.
All right, Dame. So we got Van Halen number 1 is number 1. I'm going to put you on the spot here, as I always do. It's going to be my thing for each show. Okay. As you heard the story, you know, with Van Halen with the brown M&Ms. So, you know, the brown M&Ms were really a way of not them to be divas, but it was a way for the promoter or booker to actually read the rider, which most of them probably ignored. So it was pretty funny, you know. We all heard the brown M&M story. So to break it down, if you had to pick what kind of M&M would be your favorite?
What color?
No, not color. Not color.
Like the red
M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, you know.
The peanut, without a doubt.
The peanut M&Ms. I would say peanut M&Ms.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's got the perfect combination.
Preferably the yellow peanut.
The yellow. It's got I think the yellow one. I think the yellow peanut works.
Does that really matter? The yellow?
Well, maybe not in this day and age. Be very careful. But
I like the peanut butter ones too.
Peanut butter ones are good.
Yeah.
I think the peanut butter ones are better than the Reese Pieces. It's a little more M&M-y, you know?
Caramel ones are all right, but they're just like
the coffee ones were all right.
I like the coffee. They were good.
I didn't try to have these orange ones out. I didn't try the orange one out. The orange one was a little weird, maybe.
I'd give it a shot.
I mean, my fat ass will try it. I don't care, you know.
Once I wouldn't try the candy corns.
I would.
I'm not a candy corn.
I'm all right with the candy corn.
No. Nasty.
No candy corn?
Nah, not me.
Dude, nah, why would anybody want to eat them things?
Dude,
they look cool. That's about it.
We were in a store today, and you know what I found? I found the Count Chocula cereal bars.
Oh, did you?
I never had them. I picked it up.
Yeah. Wow.
I haven't tried them yet, but they sound very interesting.
Didn't even know they made them.
That's the only one I've seen. I was like, fuck, we're talking about this. I'm going to go pick it up, you know? To wrap things up, you know, I guess a couple weeks ago, we did lose Eddie. And people are so bummed out about it, man. It's weird not to think there's going to be another Van Halen record, you know? And I don't know. I mean, definitely, man, people hit hard, you know, got hit hard. It was almost like they knew him, you know? And I think Eddie was that type of guy, you know?
Well, I think, you know, because he had the studio in his house, he recorded a ton of stuff. I mean, I remember I saw some clip from MTV back in the 90s. They did a tour of his studio, and he had like this one room, his vault of all these tapes. That was back in the 90s. Imagine what he had now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like Jimi Hendrix. They still put out Jimi Hendrix records.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been dead 50 years.
Yeah.
You know, Matt.
Albums.
Yeah. It's right. It's like he's still alive or something. There's going to be Van Halen records for the next 100 years coming out.
Maybe it'd be like a Zappa thing where, like, you know, Wolfie's got to go in there and redo everything. Because even Zappa's still putting stuff out, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's crazy, man. But all in all, another cool episode of mixtapes and tasty cakes.
That's what we should do next time. We should rate all the Frank Zappa.
We'll be there for we'll have to do
3 days doing that.
Yeah.
Just reviewing it.
3 parts.
3 weeks to listen to everything.
Oh, maybe forever. There's definitely a lot of crazy stuff in there. But all right, guys, we're gonna wrap up for this week, and stay tuned for next week. Thank you guys for listening. Hit like and subscribe. It seems like that's what everybody does. So
Yeah, that's right.
That's what they tell me. Subscribe. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you next time.
All right.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.